The information discussed in this PILCast episode are merely opinions and do not constitute formal policy or legal guidance of any kind.
Hello, and welcome to another PILCast episode, the series where we discuss federal procurement innovation topics in 10 minutes or less. We guarantee it. I'm David Jablonski with the DHS Procurement Innovation Lab, and today I have a special guest with me, Mark Homan from the United States Coast Guard. Mark, thank you so much for joining me today. Can you introduce yourself for everyone?
Well, sure, David. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Mark Homan. I'm a contracting officer with the USCG, Formal Contracts Division 2.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, thank you, Mark, so much for being here with us today. And so Mark is here today to share with everyone a story about using procurement innovation techniques in a recent procurement project so we can learn about his approach and his recommendations for everyone out there looking to use procurement innovation techniques in the future. But before we dive into the requirement today, Mark, have you ever used procurement innovation techniques before this requirement?
Well, this is my first partnership with the PIL and using innovative techniques at Coast Guard. The PIL was great at lending a helping hand, providing insight into structure and feedback. This really helped the team wrap its head around possible risk and mitigation factors. After all, being able to absorb risk is critical to how government does business.
That's good feedback for everyone. So, Mark, can you tell us what you were buying with your particular requirement?
Oh, sure. We leveraged FAR Part 8 to establish a blanket purchase agreement, or BPA. And this was an $85 million BPA, which was the flagship effort responsible for the mission support business model, which drives change and builds mission success for the Coast Guard human resource, engineering, and IT fields, all acquisition communities, really.
Okay, so FAR 8.4 is what lane you're working in there. Okay, so got a little bit of background now, understand this requirement. So, and what was your acquisition strategy for this requirement?
It's a two-phase approach to get to and determine a stronger and smaller pool of offerors. We had 5 vendors submit phase 1 responses. Phase 1 consisted of a brief submission, which included 5 pages of prior experience and 3 pages for key personnel. We advised 3 vendors to proceed to phase 2, and 2 vendors we advised not to proceed, and they all took our advice. The second phase was an oral presentation where industry presented their technical approach, and we could engage through a Q&A session, very important there. Mm-hmm. All this was allowing industry to demonstrate their knowledge of the mission support business model through specific questions to learn about their experience and ability to support our project. In total, this took about 6 months from issuing the solicitation to award.
That's great. It seems like an awesome approach, and it seems like there's a very light lift in that first phase there. Now, I saw you mentioned there as part of that process the advisory down select technique. What did you think about that technique?
Well, we used 7 procurement innovation techniques in total, which included the advisory down select, like we just saw. But the ones we wanted to use from the beginning were the oral presentation, the Q&A sessions. We could ask the one-on-one questions and get a better assessment of how a contractor would handle specific scenarios, and an on-spot consensus for the evaluation team using the confidence ratings. And it was all through Teams, which made it really convenient and easy for industry and government. We wanted to use those techniques because it was important to get the acquisition right, because this was and is a critical effort for the Coast Guard. We needed a partner with demonstrable knowledge of the mission support business model.
A lot of techniques there, 7 techniques. That's a lot. Have you ever used these techniques before this particular procurement?
I've used a phased approach in product presentations and different acquisitions, but not at the same time and not on teams.
Okay, got it. So not in that virtual environment at all. Okay. Now, well, it's neat. So you did use some in the past. All right. Now, why did you want to use procurement innovation techniques for this particular requirement?
Well, innovation in procurement is often looked at as cutting down quality and doing things wrong because it's been done a certain way for such a long time. This was a crucial acquisition for the Coast Guard, so we needed an approach where we didn't have to eat an elephant all at once. One bite at a time kind of scenario. So in other words, it was a step away from evaluating massive amounts of proposal information all at once. Moreover, it's something I looked at as a chance to get it right and a chance to reshape the business process and experience.
That's neat. Okay, got it. That's some really neat reasons why you want to use techniques here. Now, is there anything else that you learned as part of the process when using these techniques?
So it was a good reiteration of communication is king. It really is. While things stall between phases for the Coast Guard due to internal reviews, while that was getting done, I found it was absolutely critical that we kept talking with the industry to let them know we were experiencing those delays. And that turned out to be, again, very crucial in ensuring that we could move forward.
And I'm sure they probably really appreciated that feedback as well during the process too. So that's great. Is there anything that you would have done differently with the process, kind of looking back at it now in retrospect?
Shoot, you can always make things a little bit different, and we should always strive to do that. I like the way things turned out. However, if I were to change things, I would have made the oral presentations and live Q&As first. It would have been a gentle introduction to the field of potential partners, and would have still achieved the goal of getting to the smaller and stronger field of offers.
Okay, that's really good information. Now, are there any recommendations that you have for anyone else looking to use procurement innovation techniques as part of their requirements?
Yes. While being risk adverse has its place in acquisitions, so does pushing boundaries. Learn what kind of risks you're willing to take. Acknowledge that there will be challenges, and acknowledge you are trying to shape things for the better. I think it's clear we're at a point that if we do not innovate and change, we will lose. Even if it's a 1% turn, push for it. You will learn, and so will your org.
That is great words of advice for everyone out there. Well, Mark, thank you so much for your time and stopping by on this PILCast episode and really sharing your story with everyone and the thoughts and feedback and recommendations that you have for using procurement innovation techniques. So great job on this requirement for you and your team, and we look forward to hearing future stories from your team as well. Now, everyone out there, let us know what you think in the comments. Please like this video, share this video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button so you get all the latest updates. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.